what's good, Girl 4-3 here back in the day, and today guys I want to talk about the superiority, or the supposed superiority, of the Hot Wheels Boneshaker. Because it seems like every single time there's a live stream, or there's a call for questions, or on Reddit, on the Forza forums, there always seems to be somebody talking about the Hot Wheels Boneshaker and how it's OP, how it needs to be nerfed, it's too good, etc, etc. And really overall, it's not. It is a fantastic car, do not get me wrong, and in fact, it will set some lap records. But the thing is though, it's not as good as everybody makes it out to be. And that's kind of one of the things I want to discuss today, but I also want to discuss why everybody seems to think the Boneshaker is this OP god of a car. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get on into it. So starting things off, let's go ahead and talk about why A-Class gets a lot of attention. The thing with A-Class is it's not so fast that you're getting into S1 and S2 where cars can become a little bit trickier to control, but it's not so slow that it seems like it's taking forever. A-Class is kind of that sweet spot. It's always been one of my favorite classes in Horizon 4. You know, I'm really between like B and S1. Like B and S1, those are kind of my favorite classes. C and down I don't like. S2 I've always kind of just thought it's too fast. But between B and S1, I always seem to have the most fun in Forza, which right there in the middle is A-Class, and I think a lot of other players feel the same way, because there's so much diversity in A-Class that there's so many different cars to choose from. You can start off with a Ford Fiesta, front-wheel drive, and you can be relatively competitive in A-Class, but as well if you want to, you can choose a Ferrari 360 Challenge Stradale and also be just as competitive. You can have supercars and daily drivers. There's all kinds of diversity in this class, and really I think that brings a lot of players to it, so it gets a lot more attention. But the other thing is, there's always seems to have been that OP A-Class car. The Boneshaker is nothing new. In previous games, it's been the 037 Stradale, it's been the 190E. I remember seeing all these conversations about how we need to nerf the 037 Stradale, how the Mercedes-Benz 190E is too powerful, and everybody was always talking about how these cars are too good. They need fixed. The Boneshaker idea is nothing new. But really, the Boneshaker doesn't deserve the hate that it needs, or that it gets. Because really what I think the Boneshaker does is it enhances driver ability. So somebody could be getting into a car like that Ferrari that I was talking about earlier, and you know, the Ferrari's rear-wheel drive. So it will have the occasional oversteer, and maybe this person is a little bit new to the game, they don't understand the braking line, they don't understand how to brake and all that sort of stuff. So really what will happen is they'll get there and they'll brake a little late, and then all of a sudden they're oversteering, they crash into a wall, and everything's on fire. Okay? Or maybe they get into that Ford Fiesta that I was talking about earlier. That is a front-wheel drive car. So they get there, they brake a little late, they don't steer properly into the corner, they oversteer or understeer into a wall and crash and everything's on fire. So what do they do to correct this? Well, they get into the Hot Wheels Boneshaker, which a lot of the best tunes out there make it all-wheel drive. It gets all this aero so that it's going into cornering, and it's still pretty damn fast. You know, it still has a pretty damn good engine in it, and all of a sudden they get into this car, they brake a little late, but they're still able to turn in because it's got these big, fat, grippy tires on the back that keep it centered, they keep it on the ground, and they keep it from sliding, while it also has this short wheelbase, so even though the tires on the front are kind of small, that when it just turns on a dime. So really, you can go around corners with this car that you wouldn't be able to do with a lot of other cars, and you can do it quickly. It enhances driver ability. Someone might not be doing well on another car, all of a sudden hop into a Boneshaker and just annihilate the entire field, because it's so easy to drive that it just makes players better than they actually are. So now here comes the proof as to why the Hot Wheels Boneshaker is not as good as everyone thinks it is. You know, I could have actually gone to the Horizon Festival circuit where I do a lot of my reviews and all that sort of stuff, because that circuit is tight, it's hard to control, and it's really precise on everything. The thing is though, that doesn't really do the Boneshaker justice, because on this circuit in particular, the Boneshaker is the worst car that you can choose, because the Boneshaker is really good at some of those straight line speeds because it's all-wheel drive and has a lot of power, and because it's all-wheel drive as well, it gets stuck between occasionally having oversteer and occasionally having understeer. It's not exactly perfect. But for example, that Ford Fiesta that I was talking about earlier, I actually used that car, and I tested both of these out before making this video, because I was originally going to actually use that as sort of part of my argument, but after looking a little bit farther, I decided against it. That Ford Fiesta, I was able to get a whole half second per lap faster around the festival circuit than I could do with the Boneshaker. And that is just remarkable. You wouldn't expect that to actually happen. But I decided to go ahead and look at the Boneshaker across all 26 different tracks in the road racing series, because that's where a lot of people are going to be using the Boneshaker. They're going to use it in road racing. And I found that only 1 out of 26 times did the Boneshaker set the number 1 lap. And overall, the average place that it came in was 26th. 26th place. That is pretty far up. That means that there were 25 other people who chose something besides the Boneshaker that set a faster lap time. 25 other people set a faster lap time than the Boneshaker did. That's, again, why is there all this hate on this one car? Like, just, there's so many other good cars. In fact, in total, there are 14 different cars across the board that set better lap times than the Boneshaker did. 14! That's crazy. That is crazy to think about. Although I will say this, there's one car in particular that outshines every single one of them. And I'm going to get to that one here in a little bit. But if you remove this car from the game, the Boneshaker does move up pretty drastically. It becomes the number 1 car in the game, where it would have 4 of the top 26 lap times. 4 of them. That's still really not all that much. I mean, it's a damn good car, but there's 4 out of 26. That's 22 out of 26 times that it is not the best car to choose. Just, again, where's all the hate from? Well, let's talk about this car. We have the 1932 Ford Roadster Hula Girl. This is a DLC car. Thing is, though, is 12 out of 27 times, this is the number 1 car in road racing series. 12 out of 27 times. And it is a DLC car. This is where everybody's hate should lie. They should be going, why is a DLC car the best car in Forza Horizon 4 for A-Class road racing? What is going on here? Because not everybody has access to this. It's not an exclusive car. You know, the Boneshaker has been given out, what, 5-6 times now? And it's available in the auto show, or not the auto show, the auction house. Although, granted, it can be a little pricey. But still, everybody has access to the car. The Ford Roadster Hula Girl, only people who have the car pass have access to it. Why is nobody talking about the Roadster? 12 out of 27 times. I can't stress it enough. It's just an absolute beast of a car. Yet the Boneshaker seems to be taking all the heat for it. That's just something that I've never quite understood. Is why is the Boneshaker getting all this heat when it's obviously not the best car in the game? You know, if you get rid of the Ford Roadster, 4 out of 27 times goes to the Boneshaker, which still makes it damn good. But what are these other cars that are beating out the Boneshaker? You have the Lotus 340R, the Renault Clio Forza Edition. Like, we don't even normally care about Forza Editions because, my God, we get them so many times. I have got 7 Renault Clio Forza Editions right now. Just, they've been given away so frequently, and yet they are the number 1 car at the Ambleside Village Circuit. You also have the HTT VK Commodore, the Exocet Off-Road, the 1997 GTR, so on and so forth. The Lotus 11, the AMC Rebel, the Machine is the number 1 Goliath car. What? Like, that is something I would not have expected at all. And the Boneshaker is number 1 at the Lakehurst Forest Sprint. That's it. That is it. In fact, here's actually a surprising fun fact for you. At the Moorhead Wind Farm Circuit, where the Ford Roadster dominates as well, the POP 50 is even faster than the Boneshaker. It doesn't show up until 16th place. 16th. That's 15 other people on top of that chose something besides the Boneshaker. In fact, the POP 50 shows up like 5 or 6 times. The POP 50 is faster than the Boneshaker on a course. That's something that you don't expect either. I actually giggled a little bit when that happened. I was like, what? How is this even possible? So there you have it. There is the evidence that the Hot Wheels Boneshaker is not as good as everyone makes it out to be. Although it can be a fantastic car and will set some lap records, really overall, Our hate should not be focused on the Boneshaker. It should be going with the Ford Roadster, a DLC pay-to-win car. That's just not right. That's just not right. That is something that I honestly do believe Forza should take care of. Forza should nerf that car. But the problem is, Forza is a year old now. We're celebrating the anniversary this month. So what's going to happen with that? If you go ahead and nerf one car, you got to reset the leaderboards. Which means that every single time that anybody's ever put down in Rivals or in any race is erased. And when they do that, there's players that have quit this game. There's players that no longer play, that maybe have these top leaderboard rankings, and now, poof, they're gone. Only to be set by somebody else. And that's going to hurt some people. Some people are going to be mad about that. You know, why do this to a game that's a year old? Although we are still getting constant updates, we're still getting new cars. We get on average 4 new cars every single month. The fact that Forza does this is absolutely mind-blowing to me. I never thought that I would see a Forza game giving out 4 free cars every month. But we're a year in now, so maybe what we need to be thinking about is the future. With like Forza Motorsport 8, which I'm assuming is coming out in about a year. You know, when that game comes out, maybe that's when we need to think about, okay, the Boneshaker, we need to kind of make it a little bit, we need to put it down here just a little bit. We need to nerf it just a little bit. That Ford Roadster, we need to nerf it just a little bit to make cars more competitive. You know, but then all of a sudden, there's going to be a new car. There's going to be a new A-Class car. And everybody's going to be talking about the same thing all over again. What that car will be, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe it's going to be the Mercedes 280 SL, or maybe it'll be a Mercury Cougar. I have no idea what on earth the new A-Class OP car is going to be. But there's going to be one. And everyone's going to talk about it all over again. So but anyway though, that's where we're going to wrap things up for today. Leave a comment down below. Let me know, what do you guys think? Do you still believe that the Boneshaker is OP? Or do you guys now believe that really it deserves to stay where it is? I'm curious to hear what you guys got to say after hearing all this information. I know it's a lot to take in right now, but I'm curious to see what you guys got to say. As well, if you want to, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at twitter.com/Garrett413 and Instagram.com/Garrett413. And if you guys like this video, go make sure to hit that like button down below for us, because you guys already know your support is so greatly appreciated. And make sure to subscribe, more videos come out all the time. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out.